3 years ago, I left Unity because I fell in love with a different woman, a different engine, and I never looked back. That's until Madness3449 made a bingo of my videos. And apparently the two most common things I say is Unity is going down and this is the power of Godot. Okay, I might be glazing Godot too much in my videos, but that doesn't define me. Actually, I really want to see if Unity changed, because let me tell you, Godot changed in 3 years. It's barely recognizable. But how's Unity? Can the open source alternative compete with the multi-million-dollar company? Will I still remember how to use it? To find out, I'm going to complete an entire project in Unity without watching tutorials. So the idea is to make an endless first-person shooter, because I have made one of those before in Unity. Are we gonna see any difference? I hope so. I hope Unity is evolving, right? Well, let's click this. Alright, I have one of my older projects here. You can see that this is from 2018. The only reason it's here is because I showed it in one of my videos. But now we're going to create a new project in Unity 6. Should I use the universal render pipeline? Back when I used Unity, this was just getting released, so I never used it. Endless shooter. Create project. The art was better back in my day. Honestly, that was faster than I expected. My PC got better since then, so maybe I owe this to the brand new SSD. I always thought the Unity interface was kind of overwhelming, especially for beginners. This part of the UI is a little different from what I remember. I'm gonna jump right in and start creating, I guess. So I'm going to create a new capsule. And I'm going to call this player. I'm going to create a new cube and I want to scale it. So if I remember correctly, we press R and then we scale. And I don't remember if there's a way to scale in only X and Z. Yeah, you guys are going to have to say something in the comment sections. I'm just going to do it the newbie way. I would say that's big enough. What's this AI navigation here? That wasn't here before. So anyway, I'm going to be renaming this to floor, and it already comes with a box collider. Way faster than Godot, by the way. Anyway, here's the player capsule. So everything related to the player will be here, and the camera I consider to be a part of the player. So, let me reset the transform. You can see the player capsule has a collider, but I'm going to remove that. Is that dumb? I don't know, because I want to give the player itself a character controller. It is the same size of the capsule currently, so no problems there. And then I want to create a script for the player, but let me first create a new folder because things can get out of hand. Scripting, mono behavior script, player controls. So I just dragged this into the player. Amazing. Ooh, Microsoft Visual Studio. That's a professional software. So we need to get input from the player. How do we do that? I'm just going to go off muscle memory here. That can't be right. Edit, project settings, input manager. This is where you can configure the controls. Consider using the new input system instead. Okay, I remember this was in the works back when I was using Unity. I never got around to learning it fully. I remember nothing about it. How do I get it? How do I get the new input system? Unity new input system. The input system allows users to control your game or app using a device, touch, or gestures. That's what I need. Unity supports input through 2 separate systems, one older, one newer. That's easy to understand. The older system, which is built into the editor, is called the input manager. You must install it in your project using the package manager. Oh wait, I think I remember installing packages. Go to Window, Package Manager. Yes, I'm not going crazy. Waiting for it to refresh. Input system, here it. Wait, it's already installed? Okay, I see. Let's go back here to see how we use it. Get started, see the installation and workflow section. Workflows. There are multiple ways to use the input system. Uh-oh, that's not a good sign. However, the primary and recommended workflow is to use the input actions panel in the project settings window to configure your project-wide actions and bindings. Alright, that seems simple enough. No, okay, let's use the recommended one. Where is it? This is the recommended workflow for most situations. Okay, wow, okay, read more. This is getting very similar to Godot. Wait a minute. Project settings? Oh, it's right here. Look at this. So we have some basic player stuff. Move, look, attack, interact, crouch, jump. This is pretty useful, to be honest. So move is already tied to like left stick and WASD. That's amazing. Okay, so I don't have to create any new actions. And by the way, this is exactly the same as Godot so far. Okay, so how do I access from code? Right here. One of the simplest ways is to use the find action method using input. Unity dot input engine dot input system. Oh, here it is. And right here, I want to create a few variables. Their type is input action. Input action. And let's call this one the move action. So move action is going to be equal to input system actions find action move. Let me just copy and paste this because I'm a real programmer. So right now we have a variable that keeps track of the move action. And remember, the move action is in the project settings, input system package, player, move. It keeps track of the left stick and the WASD. Apparently there's a 2D vector type to it. Anyway, so this is the move action. We got to do something with it. So it's telling me here that read value vector 2 is obviously going to return a vector 2, which is what I need. So what if I get a vector 2 move direction equal to move action dot read value vector 2. So now I can use this to move the player. Back in my day, I could just simply call public. Nah, I'm kidding you. You thought it. I know you thought I was going to do this. Serialize field, character controller. So serialize field is going to show this variable in the Unity editor. So if I go here now, click on player, here it is. Now I get to just drag and drop this. Beautiful, my friends. Now how do I move? I think there is a character controller dot move direction. Okay, that was fast. Obviously I would need a speed and delta. So let me once again serialize field float move speed. I'm gonna make this equal to maybe 5, and then I make this times move speed times time dot delta time. Man, this is like riding a bike. Anyway, let's save and test this. The position is changing, but maybe it's just because yeah, it's a really big floor. Wait. I'm moving up and down when I press W and S. And that makes sense, of course, because this is a vector 2, but move expects a vector 3 because we are in a 3D game. That's actually easy to fix, my friends. I just realized I have to rename this then, and I'm going to call this input dir. And for the actual vector 3 movement direction, we can just say new vector 3. Input dir.x, and the y is actually going to be 0, and the z is going to be the y from input. So now we use movement direction here. So this is probably going to work as we want right now, but I can already see the problem with this. I am moving forwards and backwards now instead of up and down. The problem is going to show up when I try to move the camera, which is the next step. I'm going to serialize field again, but now I want a camera. I'm just going to call this main cam. Let me get the reference right now. I'm going to have to look for the mouse input, which is look delta pointer. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the player's entire body in the y-axis when we move the mouse from left to right, and rotate only the camera in the x-axis when we move the mouse up and down. This script is attached to the player, so I assume that if we have a position here at all, do we have it? We have a transform position. Yes, so this is going to be the current position. What I want to do is get the X position if it's possible to change this. It's not possible to modify the return value because it's not a variable. I remember this problem because position.x, it's not a variable, it's a property. It's a read-only property. So how do I do this? Actually, I want to change the rotation. I just realized. Okay, but the same situation is happening. Oh, it's not able to convert vector 3 to quaternion. So rotation is represented in quaternions to I don't know how to pronounce this, by the way. I say Euler. I don't know. It's Euler, Euler, Euler.
Euler. Euler. Euler.
To Euler. It doesn't make any sense to use to Euler here because it's just going to show us the Euler angles. It's not going to actually provide us a way to change them. So maybe what I want to do here is to actually change this to quaternion. Yeah, it wouldn't be that easy, would it? Quaternion or Euler. What is this? Oh, so you provide a vector 3 and it becomes a quaternion. Oh, look, that's what we need. So quaternion.Euler is actually what I have to use.
Euler.
I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't even have the input for this. I want a look action. And then I need a vector 2. Look input, look action, read value. And then I need to create a float in here. camera X rotation and camera Y rotation. Camera X rotation is going to plus equal. No, it's going to be equal plus equal. Guys, I'm so confused right now. Plus equals look input dot X, which goes into the Y here. And this one is Y here, and this one goes straight into the X. But I want the Y to go into the camera. So let me just copy this, make this one 0, and this one 0, and this one main cam. Okay guys, I think I have arrived at our destination here after a lot of struggle. X-axis is working, the movement is not, but this one was expected as I said. But Y is up and down not working. Euler is failing me. I'm thinking maybe this should be local rotation. Is that a thing here? Local rotation. It's working. Oh my god. All right. We did it. I'm just going to make this a negative thing, a negative situation. I'm sorry for everyone who wanted a positive situation, guys. There is a caveat, however, because I can move up and down infinitely here. And to fix this, I have to clamp the value of this. Camera X rotation equals, I think it's math dot clamp, and the values I want is negative 80 degrees and 80 degrees. God be on our side. I think this is it. This is not it. I'm not even doing it in the right thing, man. Just pay attention, mother. Come on. Ooh, it's working. It's working. All right, we have successfully made our character move and look around. The problem is he's not moving forward when I press W. And the reason behind this, the great reason behind this, we want to change this direction relative to the player. We want the local direction of the player. You see that if I rotate this now, we want this blue arrow here. We want to move the player in this direction, the direction that he's facing. To achieve this, it's actually rather simple. I learned this from Brackeys. It's quite simple. All you gotta do is take something known as transform.forward, which represents the local z-axis of the player, and multiply it by the input dot y, which is up and down for the player. And then you do this plus transform dot right, which represents the red arrow, the x axis of the player. You make this times input dir dot x. If this is familiar to you, it's because I learned this from Brackeys about 6 years ago. So now if I move forward and I keep pressing W and I move the camera, I'm always going in the direction of the camera. Wow. Okay, that was a lot to remember. Just, from memory. But what's next? Gravity is next. So gravity is 9.8 usually on Earth. And all we gotta do is make sure the character's Y velocity increases by 9.8 every second, because gravity is an acceleration and not a velocity. When you want something to increase every second, what we want to increase every second is not the gravity, because this is going to be a constant value. We want to increase the falling speed of our character, and that is going to start at 0. So like I said, we wanted to increase by 9.8 every second. Falling speed plus equals gravity times time delta time, so that by the end of all the frames in the current second, you get 9.8. Now all we gotta do is make sure that our player's Y velocity is equal to the falling speed here that we created. Let me take this away from here then and put it in here. The reason for this is because we're moving the player in this function, right? So by the way, movement direction dot y is actually equal to falling speed. Now there's one problem. We are multiplying this by move speed, which is going to make it faster. So instead of multiplying by move speed here, I'm going to do this before. So this line right here replaces this y-axis with the falling speed. You can see that I'm setting it to the falling speed directly, and by the end of it I'm multiplying everything by delta time, because this delta time should be applied to the falling speed. I sound so confident when I'm explaining, but I don't know if I'm doing anything wrong. So I'm gonna test if the gravity is working like it's supposed to by adding a new object like a sphere to the scene. Let me put it in the exact same position as the player. Copy position and paste. Okay, so at least on the y-axis, it's in the same position as the player. So they should both fall at the same speed, if my gravity code is correct. Okay, we're going out. I simply forgot to do everything. We need to add a rigid body here because the rigid body is controlled by actual Unity physics. And instead of saying that falling speed plus equals gravity, it's minus equals. Beautiful. Actually beautiful, my friends. I can delete this ball now. There's only one real problem with this code is that we are always increasing the value of falling speed even when we're on the ground. So by the time we get to, to fall, we're going to fall too fast. All we need to do is create an if statement to make sure if the player is grounded, and I think character controller has an is grounded here. So if the player is grounded, set movement direction dot y to 0, else we set the falling speed. If the player is grounded, his y velocity is 0 because, he's touching the floor. If he's in the air, he should be falling. So now, if I get to an edge, doesn't matter how long it takes to get to the edge, I will fall at a regular speed. Just one more detail you might notice though is that the mouse cursor is showing up on the screen and it's also like going everywhere. I think I remember, I'm not sure though. I think it's on input, mouse mode, cursor. Yeah, I'm confusing with Godot here. I think it's cursor locked. And this is going to lock the cursor to the center of the screen, but I think it's still going to be visible. So cursor visible false. So now when I play the game, it's going to lock my mouse cursor and also make it invisible. If I click. Yep. What's next? Well, we need enemies. We also need a weapon and we also need a level. I have to admit, one of the strengths of Unity is the asset store. Why don't we give a chance to the asset store today since we're using Unity? I see an icon here that says asset store and I can see my assets. So it tries to find them in the package manager. The asset store page used to be here where the game and scene are. So they moved it apparently. Let's go to the asset store web. That means you have to open up the browser now to see the asset store. Yeah, I mean, it's okay, but what's the reason for this? I'm going to start by looking up some trees. And obviously I want free stuff. I like free stuff. Yeah, this one looks good enough. Add to my assets. Okay, I'm also looking for weapons. So let me find gun, low poly. Again, free stuff only. These look really good. Wow, I'm gonna go with this one. I mean, I like the simplicity of all this. You just add to your assets, then you come to Unity and you find them here. I probably have to refresh, but yeah, here they are. So I can download these and import them into my project. I mean, that's really good. That's really good. So I'm not gonna lie, I miss this. I truly miss this. So just import them into my project and it's all good. I really like this system. And Godot has something similar, but again, it's almost never assets. You're going to go into the asset library in Godot and what you're going to find there are systems, like a save system or an inventory system, and they only accept open source licenses. So you can't make money from your assets. I mean, I love free stuff and I love the open source philosophy of Godot, but when it comes to assets provided by the community, please let them earn some money. Just a little bit of feedback for the Godot community. Anyway, I think I should replace this floor with a terrain, because Unity comes with a terrain system if I'm not mistaken. Gone. Reduced to atoms. So how do I make a terrain here? Do I just create a terrain? Terrain. Alright, here it is. I have created a new terrain for me. So what do I have here? Materials mode, foliage, neighbor terrains, and I'm in sculpt mode. Raise or lower terrain, set heights, paint holes. I want to raise the terrain. That's what I'm doing currently. I'm raising the terrain. Here's my player. Please go to the center of the terrain. Yeah, this is definitely big enough for our game. So I want to create some hills around the terrain that the player isn't going to be able to climb. Is there a shortcut for like the brush size? Unity terrain brush size shortcut. Common brush controls and shortcut keys. Oh wait, hang on. This is a package. I have to install it. Terrain tools. Oh, I have to install it, of course. And of course it conflicts with everything else. I think U is unassigned. I'm going to put this in U. Perfect. So there should be no more conflicts. Yep, the problem is fixed. Anyway, let's just get to work here. This looks completely shitty. It's supposed to look like hills in the distance. It's good enough. I want to see what it looks like with fog. How do I enable fog? Is it in the global volume? This is where it would be in Godot. Okay, wait. Window lighting. I remember this window. I used it a lot. Environment, fog, here it is. It's compiling the shader, normal stuff. Very not good. So I'm thinking the fog could be a bit blue. Yeah, that immediately looks way better. As for the density, yeah, I like more density. Now, one thing I do notice is that the sky is not affected by fog, probably because it's not volumetric fog. I'm just gonna roll with this, guys. I'm not gonna go after like volumetric fog. I'm not gonna go after creating a solid skybox with a single color. I think this is fine. Let's finish the terrain. I have to disable fog for this. All right, let's change to material mode. Paint, texture. Our game is gonna be composed of solid colors based off of this tree here. So we need some textures. So we gotta paint the terrain with some flat colors here, and I'm gonna go create a new texture folder. And in here I need to import flat colors because that's all I'm gonna use as textures. Let me go into Photopea, 200 by 200. I will select this layer, click this button, and fill with a solid color. And I'm gonna go with this green for the grass. Export this as a PNG. And I'm just going to call this green.png. I'm going to be saving this directly into the project. And now I can change this to a brownish color. Yeah, this looks like dirt. Just export this as a PNG again. And this one I'm gonna call dirt.png. Okay, so we have our two textures here. We can go into our terrain, go into materials mode, which by the way is very misleading because I thought we would be able to use materials to paint, but we can only use textures. So say goodbye to like height maps, say goodbye to roughness maps. Only textures are allowed. I guess we have to create a new layer here, which I'm gonna call dirt, and use this. Now our entire terrain is made up of dirt. I'm going to create the grass layer now. Select the green. Now I want to paint the green. Why is everything green now? Why does it look so shitty? What the hell is this resolution? What? So obviously I want to change the texture resolution. I'm going for the max. I mean, that's a little better, but not really. Nothing in the world will make this resolution better. Oh wait, I can use the smooth brush. That's way better. Well, I have accidentally created this amazing picture. Okay, let's start from scratch. Let's actually do something nice now. So you know what I want? I want the mountains to have grass on them. Oh yeah, that looks alright. I'm gonna use the smoothest brush possible. And I'm gonna reduce the strength. There's dirt underneath, you know. It makes it look more realistic. You know what, guys? This is looking like a AAA masterpiece already. There's our tree. We approach it very slowly. Our tree has no collision. That's a problem. Okay, now let's place some trees. I'm gonna mass place. Oh my god, look at that. Oh, that's so sick. Why do they look black in the distance? Maybe it looks better in game. Guys, it does not look better in game. Anyway, let's undo this. Oh my god. Okay, let's undo this because I want to add more trees. For example, I want this tree. It looks quite good. Let's add this tree. I also like this one a lot. And why do they look so bad in the distance? Oh, I see. So these trees are not necessarily made for terrain use because, you know, we have to use Nature's Soft Occlusion Shader and we need an LOD group, which makes sense, right? We need a level of distance group. I mean, these trees are very low poly already, so I don't know if we need LODs. They're going to look terrible in the distance, but don't worry. I'm not going to make this game performant at all. I'm going to use maximum LOD from all distances. Man, this is such a beautiful game. A carefully handcrafted environment. Beautiful from all angles and all distances. Absolutely nothing ugly about this. It's amazing. It's honestly like my masterpiece. I'm just raising the mountains. The fog is gonna look better if I raise the mountains, I think. So now we enable the fog. Oh, come on. This is getting like some vibes, right? This is looking good. Let me choose a different color for the fog. Maybe some green. Decrease the density. Oh man, this is so beautiful right now. This is a real masterpiece. Oh, I need to add collision to the tree. Yeah, you know, this means we're going to have to open the prefabs. So we open the prefab for tree number 4 here, for example, and we add a mesh collider. We must do the same thing to tree number 6, which we also used, and the same thing to tree number 9, and that didn't work. I'm inclined to suicide right now. But I found the problem. I was searching for tree and I was selecting the model instead of the prefab. If you give me another chance to prove that I'm not an idiot, you must give me another chance, because let's just pretend that nothing happened. And it turns out it was all my fault all along. The problem is always the thing that is sitting between the computer and the chair. Wow, this looks really good. This looks really good. We're back in a new day because I was really overwhelmed with everything. I was starting to go crazy. I apologize to everyone. I hope today is a better day. Now I need to set some limits for the player. I'm going to create an empty object and I'm just going to call this invisible walls. Go to the invisible walls and add a new component, and this is going to be a box collider. I don't want to deal with being on the inside of a collision, so I'm just going to create 4 box colliders. So you can see this one right here. I'm just going to make it huge. The little green line here represents where the player can go to. I'm going to copy paste the component as a new component. Now that I think about it, it would definitely be better to have this as a separate object. This is just me forgetting how to use the component system in Unity. And I'm going to create a new empty object, and I want to call this wall 1 as a child of the invisible walls here. And then I'm going to paste the component, paste component values, and then I can create a third one, wall 3. And this one, I just want to rotate 90 degrees here on the y-axis and bring it to this edge. I'm edging right now. We're now hitting an invisible wall here. Wow. And I'm still like far away enough from the mountains. They still look like they are in the distance and I can't get any closer. Perfect. Okay, so now we need to implement shooting, but we also need enemies. I forgot about enemies. These weapons are probably using the built-in render pipeline instead of the universal render pipeline. Is this one the deagle? This one looks like the deagle. Make them a child of the camera. Oh, so thankfully everything is still a single material, so I can just drag this in here and it now looks like a deagle. The camera is still in the belly of the player. Let me change this. This looks amazing. I would add some sort of weapon sway, but I'm too lazy for that. I'm just gonna go with this. I found the perfect enemy 3D model. Godot man. Thank you so much, Fahima Bed. Thank you so much. This is just a pure work of art. I have nothing else to say about this. This is just perfection. Look at this. Let's just take heavy inspiration from your 3D model, my friend. Godot man is successfully imported into Unity. Let's just see how it would look. He's a giant. He's a giant. There is nothing more beautiful than this 3D model, man. This is almost creepy. Look at him in the distance, just standing there ominously. You are definitely going to be the enemy of this game. For now, let me create an empty object. I'm going to call this Godot man. I'm going to add a character controller to this guy. And I'm going to give this guy a very simple script. And I'm just going to call this enemy AI. Get away from my screen. So in the start function, I actually want to get the player's position. Well, let me get a transform. Player transform. And let me assign player transform to be equal to game object. Assign first object by type player controls. Right? This is good. This is perfect. Dot transform. Don't judge me for this. I don't remember the best way to do this, so I'm just gonna get the player's script. And also I hope that this keeps track of the transform over time. If it does, we have all we need. Void update, because in the update function all we want to do is make sure that our own transform.forward look at player transform.position. Okay, theoretically this is gonna make Godot man look at the player. Can you see me, sir? It didn't work. Well, obviously you have to add the script. Jesus, oh my god. Oh, hello, sire. This is definitely something. Let's make him a bit smaller. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly copy these 2 variables and paste them here. Also this variable and paste it here. Oh, I just remembered one way that I can facilitate my life here, which is by getting the character controller here. I forgot about this one. Then I'm going to copy all of this and I'm going to create movement direction, which is going to be very different from the player's movement direction. So the movement direction is going to be equal to our current position minus the player position. So let me just, then we take this and we normalize this. I'm gonna break the line. And then we need a movement speed, of course. I forgot about that. Serialize field, float, move speed equals 3 maybe? And make this times move speed. So this should be it. Oh. He's afraid of me. Don't be afraid, Godot man. Please don't be afraid of me. I'm your friend. Well, actually, I'm your enemy. We have to invert these. Yep, now we're talking. He's following us through the woods. I'm being followed by a blue man in the woods. His name is Godot Man. Okay, now we gotta be able to shoot Godot Man. I'm so sorry, Godot Man, but your fate is to die. Now, I should create multiple scripts. I should be, you know what I should be doing, right? I should be creating health, hitbox, all of that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to create everything within the enemy script because I'm lazy and because this game is very simple. So we can have a health of like 10, for example, and we could have a function called take damage, and then we would simply make health minus equals damage. And if health is less than or equal to 0, I forgot we are in C#, we would simply get our game object and destroy. Is that not how you destroy a game object? Oh, destroy game object. So this is our take damage function. We're gonna get back to this, but right now we want to give our player the ability to shoot a weapon. Again, I should be creating separate scripts and, organizing the code, but fuck it, I'm going to create everything right here in the player controls. Let me just take this and put it here. I also need a shoot action. I think this one is called fire. It is actually called attack. Don't remember how to create a raycast in Unity. Unity, raycast. Oh, so we have to create a function here. So we got the origin, direction, and max distance, layer mask. And we also use the out keyword, which I barely understand in C#. This is similar to pointers in C. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. Like, we're gonna get this variable and we're gonna transform it by passing it as a parameter. Yeah, very crazy stuff. So yeah, we're casting a ray from the camera, from the center position of the camera forwards. And if we hit anything, that's going to show up in this variable if hit.collider isn't null. So we can probably do hit collider dot game object dot get component enemy AI. We give this to a variable of enemy AI. There's a chance that this is going to crash everything. Let me just check. So it doesn't crash. All right, cool. Yeah. So within here, of course, we can call enemy dot take damage, or we could if take damage was public. Take damage. Let's just say that it's going to be 4. I will definitely create a variable for this. I have to shoot Godot Man 3 times. It's time for you to die, my friend. 1, 2, 3. It works. So we definitely need a crosshair to help us aim. I'm not super excited about working with UI though. Let's see if I remember this. I click here and then I find UI. What's a panel? So let's change to 2D mode where we're gonna find the panel. What if I scale it like this? Let me just resize this to 0.3. 0.03. Why is it not square? Yeah, if I can make this a little smaller, it's probably gonna work. Let me also increase the alpha value here. That should be enough to aim. I hit here, I don't hit here. Another one. That works. This is good enough for aiming, I think. Now I definitely want to polish the weapon. Give it a little bit of animation, some sound. Gunshots, sound effects. By the way, a really great website you can use is Cobalt Tools. Just paste in the video you want, download as audio. There are no ads. Everything is free. Amazing website. Oh, I don't remember the component for playing audio. It's audio source. Yeah, I remember it now. Do not play on awake. And an audio resource is probably a clip like this one. Everything else is perfect. I'm just going to serialize field my way out of this one. So I need an audio source, gun, shot, audio, and I guess I just play. Is it that easy? Not that easy. I'm only playing the sound when I shoot the enemy. It's not supposed to be within this if statement. It should be way up here. Even if we don't hit anything, we still play the sound. And as always, I forgot to add the audio source here. Oh my god, that Oh my god, that was so loud. And there's so much delay. I'm opening up Audacity because I definitely have to change this. Let's decrease the volume here by a lot. Yeah, that sounds good enough. I should probably change the pitch a little bit every time too. Gunshot audio.pitch. Because 1 is the regular pitch, right? Yep. It's working. It can probably be a little more than this. And then let's do the same thing for volume. Although obviously it would be 0 at most and maybe negative 10. Okay, I was under the impression that the volume would be in decibels. I was wrong. 1.5 maybe, 0.7. I think this one will work, maybe. Yes, it works. That's pretty cool. Alright, let's make the enemy spawner now. If I remember correctly, I can make a prefabs folder, drag the Godot man in, and now I have a prefab of Godot man. I'm going to delete this guy. Anyway, let's create a new node here, and I'm going to call this enemy spawner. You obviously need a new script for this, so I'm just going to create it. So the idea is to have a timer that, will fire off randomly and spawn an enemy at a random location within a certain distance of the enemy spawner. We don't want enemies to spawn like too far, I don't think Unity has a timer by default. Let's create a timer ourselves, shall we? Look, I'm too lazy for anything. I'm just going to call a function called spawn. I'm going to serialize this field so I want a game object, and this is going to be the enemy prefab. I think game object is how you get prefabs. I'm not sure. Oh, here it is. Yeah. So game object is in fact how you get prefabs. I just realized I have no idea how to actually spawn a new object in Unity. Wow, it's been that long, huh? It's literally called instantiate. That's so simple, man. What the heck? So you can see that we have plus 12 here, and that's like 12 different variations of parameters that we can pass to this function. One of these probably has a vector3 that we can pass as a position. All right, epic. We can actually pass a position as a vector3 and then a quaternion as a rotation. I'm pretty sure I want y to be something along the lines of like 5, but these ones are going to be random with a minimum of negative 100 and positive 100. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Oh no, ugly code alert. Ugly code alert. So I pass the spawn position and I have to pass a quaternion. All right, that's good enough for me. I'm just going to pass 0, 0, 0 as its rotation. All right, so we have the spawn function. Let's create our timer. Serialize field, float, time to spawn. I'm gonna make this equal to 2f. I'm gonna make it start at 2 seconds, but it's going to change every time. We go into our update function, and in here we simply make time to spawn. It's going to decrease this number by 1 each second, so essentially we are counting down from this number always. And if time to spawn is less than 0, less than or equal to 0, we call spawn. And after we call spawn, we actually set a new time to spawn, a random range. I'm going to make this go from 0.1 to 2 seconds. And I think this is it. I think this is the code. Let's test it. Why not? You can see the timer is working at least. And you can see new Godot man showing up in the hierarchy, but I can't find them in my game. We have one here. Okay, so I think what's happening is that they are spawning too far away from the player. I'm actually going to use the player as a base. I'm going to use the same logic I used here to get the player's position. Whatever. We have the player transform, which means we have the position. All I have to do is go to the next line and make the spawn position be equal to spawn position plus the player transform.position. This number now represents an offset from the player's position. And I think 100 might have been too much, so I'm going to go with 10. 10 is what we need. We could create a variable, right? So we can change this later. So now they should be spawning much closer to the player. Oh, yeah, here they are. Yes, that's what I need. Oh my god, there's so many of them. Now I need to create player health. Again, this should be a separate script. No, this would be crazy. This thing is called player controls. I think we're going too far if we put health in here. We create health. By awake, we want health to be equal to max health. We also want to take some damage. health minus equals then if health is less than 0, less than or equal to 0, I want the player to die. For now, let's just restart the scene. How do I do that? Unity restart scene. Scene manager.load scene. I don't even know what this scene is called, actually, now that I think about it. Sample scene. Great. Scene manager, load scene, sample scene. We're just going to call take damage on a trigger. The trigger is going to be in the enemy. Let's go over to my prefabs. Godot man. Here he is in all his glory. I'm going to add a capsule collider to this guy. This one is going to be a trigger. This one's going to be a little bigger. So by any chance, if he gets in contact with the player will take a hit. So in the enemy AI script, I want a on trigger enter. Is that it? Man, why do I remember this so clearly? Collider is going to be player, and I'm going to need a tag for this or a filter of some kind. I'm just going to call this collider. We have to tag the player here with, oh, the player tag, it already exists. If collider.tag equals player, this is simpler than I thought. We will take the collider, which is the player, don't forget that. Player health equals get component, but we're going to get the component from the collider. And if that's not null, which is not going to be, but just to be safe, right? We're going to call player health.take damage. And the damage is not going to be health. It's going to be a variable that I'm going to create because I want to be responsible. Damage to player. So the player has 10 of health. Let's say that if he takes 2 hits, it's over. Damage to player. And then after we damage the player, we will simply destroy ourselves. Yeah, this looks good enough, my friends. If the collider has a tag of player, we will get the player health. And if it's not null, we call take damage and then we destroy ourselves. So each Godot man can give the player 5 of damage. So 2 hits, you're done. Yeah, it's not working. They're ganking up on me, guys. Hey, why is it not working? I made sure that the trigger is like larger than the Godot guy. Maybe it should be even bigger. That's one thick boy. Oh, wait a minute. Where's player health? Here it is. Obviously, it would never work this way. Come on. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. I'm so lazy. I'm gonna get a heart. PNG right from Google. I think we can go to our canvas and give it a raw image heart. It was right there, man. It was right there. Anyway, let's completely ignore that and stay positive. Oh my god. Can't believe this is actually working. Wow. Alright, man, we are killing Godot. And we're taking damage as well. Oh, sometimes, I guess. Alright, there's not enough enemies. Hold on. Oh, holy shit. It's raining Godot, man. Come on. Oh my god. Oh, no, this is way too hard. And this is just to remind all of you who wins at the end of the day. It's not Unity. It will never be Unity. Wow, I can't believe I did it, man. I finished a project in Unity again after so many years of avoiding this engine. So I would say the engine evolved in this time, but not too much. I like the new input system. It's way better than the old one. The UI still sucks completely for me. I don't know why. And overall, the engine still has this quality that I can't really describe, where everything feels insanely boring to do. One of my favorite aspects of Godot is that when using it, I feel like I'm playing a game. I feel like I'm having fun just by using the engine. So many things in Godot are way easier than Unity. So many other things are harder. You know, that's a double-edged sword, but overall, I would say Godot feels more like a game, and Unity feels annoying most of the time. This could be me. This could be something from my head, you know. It's a subjective experience after all. So I'm rating this experience a solid 6 out of 10. Will not be using Unity again, probably.